Tom, I played the Plucky Squire at Summer Game Fest, and it's one of the best games I played at the event. And that's saying a lot, because I've played a lot of those games at the event, and the Plucky Squire really stood out to me.
So you saying it really jumped off the page for you?
It jumped off the page and then some, Tom. My goodness, this game rocks my socks off. Let me go over what I played of this game. I don't know if it was the entirety of a chapter, but it was at least some of it, right? So it starts out, you're playing as the Squire in the storybook. It plays like a Zelda game almost, a top-down Zelda. There's the sword, you're attacking pretty simplified enemies. There is a move where there's certain cannons that you go into, and then they jump you off of the page and back onto the page so you can get across large gaps. There's a move where you can even just jump out of the page at your own will whenever you get on these cannons, and then just explore the desk around you, which isn't much, until I got to a certain point in the demo where I had to leave the page to fulfill an objective. I had basically had to find a new tool that would help me progress, and it only existed outside of the book, where I got to explore in a 3D space. That alone already is fascinating. The concept of this game switching between 2D to 3D gameplay. Of course, the game entirely changes depending on the dimension you're in, but it's just so cool to see that the moves also carry over into this 3D space. There's a dodge roll. I even got equipped with a jetpack, which let me jump higher, and I came away from this preview thinking, if I couldn't be more excited for this game, Tom, like I didn't think it could be possible. But then I played it, and I'm thoroughly blown away by what I got to experience.
Yeah, we were like both excited for it, and it's like, this seems like one of the top games there. So that's saying something, that you played it and you're now even more hyped for it.
Yeah. It's interesting too, because the game itself, I wouldn't say is too complicated. Like, the combat's very simple. There are moves you can collect there are moves you can buy, I should say, with the collectibles, the light bulbs. The representative I was with even said that's not required. Like, you don't have to buy a dodge roll if you don't want to, mainly because they're making sure that this game is playable for a younger audience as well. So it's not just geared towards a specific group of nostalgic individuals like us who remember the glory days of 2D and 3D gaming. But just jumping on the page, it's not even that it's the 2D and 3D changes on the specific storybook. It also translates to other elements on the desk as well. It's like how in Super Mario Odyssey, the 2D sections on certain walls, the very same thing applies here. You go into 2D and then the game turns into a 2D platformer, not even just a top-down sort of Zelda-like deal. What I think most people are going to take away from this game is the sheer creativity of it all. You will never know what this game throws at you, Tom. Like, seriously.
Well, in many of the trailers, like, they show him almost powering up to be stronger fighting people. Like, did you have any of that during your play session?
Yes, and at that moment, I literally said out loud during my preview, "Let's effing go." Like, that, I was thoroughly just like, yes, dude, this is what I'm talking about. This is peak gaming. There's a moment where you get to the end of this quest, and like the final objective is to basically save a bunch of army men, because you go into like this tube of army men, like the outside of it. You're on the outside of this, and then you turn. First of all, the animation style is different when you get in here. It's like G.I. Joe, kind of, a little bit rugged. The NPCs you talk to have different speech bubbles as well. It's really wicked clever. And then the Plucky Squire turns into like this buff dude with a jetpack. And then the game basically turns into Resogun, where you're flying around and you're shooting things left and right with the right control stick. My rep even said, "You've definitely been playing Resogun." And I'm like, I haven't played Resogun in a while, but this is really cool. It's really creative. You're rescuing all these little army men from these aliens in a 2D fashion. And if this game just keeps throwing me stuff like that, where it's different gameplay elements, where I just won't know where it's going to take me next, dude, this game is easily going to be like one of my favorite games of the year. It's supposedly coming out in 2024. We'll see if that happens, but I came away from this extremely impressed.
I think it's possible. They did delay it once already, so usually like when they do that, it's going to be a smaller delay. Depending on, it is like a super ambitious though. Yeah. Now, when you were in the Resogun like mode, I noticed in some of the B-roll it's against like a can almost. Did you find any of the surfaces like making it harder to play? Like the surface itself that the 2D is projected on becomes part of the challenge.
I didn't really find that to be the case, at least in this chapter. It seemed like very straightforward. The surfaces that they basically took me onto were like art pieces, like from a kid's drawing, like with 2D platforms and like little UFOs shooting at me. I think they were UFOs, but other than that, I didn't really think they offered too much of a difference in terms of playstyle, aside from that one where I'm flying all around reso gun style.
Yeah.
No, not really, but I hope it does. I hope they find a creative way to like make those surfaces part of the challenges themselves, because right now they just seem to be, you know, projections more than anything. Like, you know how like there's a projector screen and there's a wall there. That's basically what they seem like so far.
With this game though, did you find like it's mostly in 2D, or like do you have a preference for the 2D sections or the 3D sections?
So as for like how much of my demo was 2D versus 3D, I think my gut tells me it was more 2D, because even during the 3D sections, there was a lot of moments where I had to jump into a 2D section. There was many of those, and that was part of the traversal too. So you would jump into like a 2D wall and then go through a 2D section, and then you come out on the other side of that wall, or like on the top of a structure, which I think is just insanely creative. They definitely took inspiration from those Mario Odyssey 2D sections from the wall, but I love the way it does it here. It is really cool, and so for that I kind of prefer 2D a little more. Of course, I've only played like about 35 minutes of this game, so I still have a lot more to learn in that sense of what this game is really going to fulfill in that sense. What I had to do in the 3D sections was I had to find pieces of a rocket ship, because I had the rocket ship's son, literally his son on my back, like shooting me up into the sky. And one of the missions also had me light some birthday candles in order to get one of those pieces, which was a little bit frustrating because it's not immediately clear what the candles look like or where they might be hiding. So I did do a lot of wandering around thinking, what the heck, where are these things? What do they even look like? So that was just a little bit frustrating, but once I figured out what they looked like, I was kind of like, okay, and they're in this general vicinity, I can figure this out on my own. And then you light them up, of course, with the jetpack, because of course.
Yeah, I've seen some of the footage too. Like it looks like besides the wonderful art style, there is some humor to it as well, like probably saving that jetpack guy. That looked like a funny scene.
Yeah.
And no, it looks wonderful. Things like having a gear spinning in 2D and being in 3D and stopping it to be able to walk by a dangerous area, all stuff like that. Like that one was pretty obvious for you to figure out, or was it?
That's what I had to. That's the whole reason I had to leave the book in the first place.
Yeah.
I had to go find the thing that would let me stop the gears. So then the gears stopped, and then the chapter pretty much ended from there.
It looks like so many different amazing gameplay opportunities that will present themselves in this. Joey, so leaving out, fantastic. Love the art, I'm assuming.
Oh, the art's so great. It's so beautifully diverse. Like the hand-drawn animation, I believe it's hand-drawn because it looks hand-drawn, just moves so fluidly. It's so crisp. The 3D art style is it's very simple, I will say, the 3D part of it. It doesn't really like stand out to me too much, but it still plays wonderfully. It's charming, it's unique, and I think the 2D art style though is really going to shine here, because like I said, when you get to that section where it turns into reso gun, everything looks like it's like a G.I. Joe kind of art style, and I want to know what other art styles I'm gonna see in this game, and I'm not gonna watch the trailers to find out. I'm going I can't even say media blackout because I've seen trailers, but I'm trying to go in as blind as I possibly can with this game.
I know the feeling 100%. Like, I'm sold. I threw my wallet already. I don't need to see more. I don't need to see him boxing a honey badger anymore,
No, I don't. It's really cool.
Okay. Well, that's been Joey's impression of the Plucky Squire that he played at Summer Game Fest a while ago, but embargo being today. Thanks so much for watching. If you're looking forward to the Plucky Squire, let us know in the comments below, and stay tuned for more videos from GameXplain on indie games and Plucky Squire too. Until next time, everyone, goodbye.